All right, in today's video, we are gonna talk about how you can build your digital product business, just sharing your knowledge and wisdom, the gift that God has given you, and how you can literally build a business around that, just posting content and sharing your products and services. So I wanna share with you something that I find very, very important when it comes to developing your content strategy and your system. So it's something that I felt like the Lord revealed to me. 1 Kings chapter 4, verses 32 to 34, we find that King Solomon was just sharing his wisdom, right? He spoke 3,000 proverbs and his songs were 1,005. And then he spoke about trees and animals and creatures that scurry along the ground. Then at verse 34, we see that kings from other nations came to hear him speak. So there's a principle here when it comes to content creation, right? You have to share your wisdom, share your experience, share what you know and talk about it. Because eventually, moving on to step number 2, you're gonna build an audience. How you build an audience is by documenting your journey. Just like me right now, I'm just kind of chilling in my Sky Lounge and at the apartment complex, and I'm just creating content right now. And I'm just sharing with you how I'm building my business following these principles. So document your journey to build an audience. And then number 3, you're gonna sell a product or service. So in 1 Kings chapter 10, verses 24 and 25, we see that kings and queens or whatever, they came to consult King Solomon. They came to consult him and then gave him gold, spices, weapons, horses. So what does that tell us? When you share your knowledge, when you share your wisdom, when you document your journey, you're gonna build an audience, and then eventually people will come and pay you for what you can help them accomplish. So this is so important here. This principle here is very important, but what's even more important is the next step that I'm gonna give you. So if you don't know how to come up with content ideas, I want you to follow this step. Like I said, it's so important here. So one day I was talking to my wife and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna write for 30 minutes with the Lord and just be done for the day. And that gave me the idea that writing for 30 minutes, just doing a brain dump, gave me a boatload of content ideas that you can use on different platforms. So what I did was I wrote everything that came to mind for 30 minutes, nonstop, just write, brain dump everything. And I want you to write it as if you were like kind of writing an outline, like an actual script. And you can see on the screen here how I have mine written out, where I write it out as if I'm going in order of how I'm gonna speak it. Does that make sense? And then from there, you're just gonna use it to distribute to other platforms, right? So you can turn one idea into a YouTube video, a 60-second IG reel, or TikTok, or a thread, or a newsletter. And I've done this so far, and it has made content creation so easy and effortless for me that I literally have so much content for the entire month of August and September, just based off of all of my databases full of brain dumps. So write for 30 minutes and start just letting everything out and turn that into content. Now, I wanna talk with you about creating your digital product. So in 2 Kings chapter 4, we see that the widow was coming to Elijah asking for help, and she's like, what do I do? I'm about to lose my sons. And Elijah's like, what's in your house? And she says, nothing except for a jar of olive oil. We are sometimes like the widow. We don't realize what we have. We always see that these other Christians and these other people have these gifts and talents, and they're doing really well and successful, but we don't pay attention to what we have. And that's kind of like what the widow did. She didn't pay attention to what she had until someone pointed that out. So this framework, the olive oil framework, is 4 steps, and I'm just gonna walk you through how you can literally identify the knowledge and skill that you have and turn that into a digital product. So in verse 2, Elijah said to the widow, what can I do to help you? Elijah asked, tell me, what do you have in your house? And she says, nothing except for a jar of olive oil. So this step right here is to identify the knowledge and wisdom that you have. If you don't identify this, if you don't identify the skill you have, how are you going to serve other people? So you need to identify how you can serve people, because this is the foundation for solving a problem. If you don't identify the knowledge, the skill, the wisdom that you have that would actually serve someone, then there's a problem there. We need to identify that. Once you identify this wisdom or skill set that you have that will solve a problem, you're gonna be ready to turn it into a digital product. So in verse 4, it says here, Elijah said, "Then go into the house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Pour the olive oil from your flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it's filled." So what did they do here? They created a product. So the second step here is creating a digital product. So you can easily use Canva to create your product. That's how I've created the last, handful of digital products for myself. It's so easy, it's free, and you're just gonna create it and turn it into a PDF. You're gonna literally outline your process, your steps of solving a problem, right? So for example, my Freedom Formula is a guide on how to build a business that's automated online. And it's 3 steps. So I give you the framework and then action steps and principles and things that you can do to build your automated business. So basically what you're doing is you're just outlining the process in your guide, in your ebook. And I give more information in my free guide, the Kingdom Cash Flow. I walk you through the steps of creating your digital product. So you can check that out if you want to look into the free guide that I have there. But that's essentially all you're gonna do. You're gonna just outline that and make sure that you can turn your knowledge into a digital product. Now, step number 3 is sell it. You gotta sell your product if you wanna make money, right? And I know a lot of people get really weird about selling, like it's bad, you shouldn't sell, but actually it's biblical. Proverbs 11:26 says that there's a curse on him who holdeth the grain, but a blessing on the head of him who sells it. So there's a blessing on him who sells what he has, because it's not just blessing the person who buys it, it blesses yourself too. And not selling what you have is doing them and yourself a disservice. I also believe that not selling what you have been gifted with is dishonoring to God, because God is not able to work in your life and in you and through you to fulfill his purpose. So you gotta sell what you have. This is gonna be done through content. We've already talked about documenting your journey, right? You just need to document your journey about going through life, building your business, how you're solving problems, and just share what you're doing. That's really that simple. And I think you'll be surprised at how you can actually build an audience of people who are interested in what you have to say just by documenting. And from that journey that you're documenting, people will literally buy your products and services. Like, it's mind-boggling, but this is literally the best way to do it. Here's why. When you document your journey, you're building trust, and trust is the most important thing in your business. When people see you start from ground zero and build up, and you documented that journey, they are gonna see the results, and they are gonna learn from you along the way, and they're gonna trust you because you've proved it. You walked it out and documented that. This is why documenting is so important. Now, the 4th step here is to sustain your treasury. We see here in 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 7, and I just realized I forgot to say the verse for step number 3, which is the same verse actually. So let me repeat that for you. Verse 7 says here, when she told the man of God what had happened, he said to her, now sell the olive oil, right? That was the sell it part. Sell the olive oil and pay off your debts. So that was for point number 3, sell it. Selling is good. She had to sell it if she wanted to pay off her debts, right? And save her sons. Now, obviously for number 4, sustaining your treasury, she sold the oil and was able to pay off her debts and live off the rest. So for you, it's important that you build a business that is sustainable. You want to partner with the Lord so that you can build something that honors him, glorifies him, and fulfills the purpose he has for you. And I also believe that if you're in a financial position right now where you need to pay off debts, you should follow through just like the widow did. Follow that principle and pay off your debts. As you see success, pay off your debts. You want to create total freedom financially. And then from there, you want to focus on building wealth. You want to acquire assets, investing in stocks, buying real estate, buying businesses. I believe to truly sustain the wealth that you build, it's going to be done by acquiring assets. And we can see this example in the book of Genesis when Joseph was saving 20% of the grain in the crops during the 7 years of prosperity. That was because that 20%, that system was going to save them during the 7 years of famine. So you need to set up systems for saving, storing, and increasing what God is giving you. I truly believe that if you apply what I've shared with you so far, you are going to see results. I am a personal example of that. I have followed this framework, the Olive Oil Offer framework, to create and sell my digital products and have had success. And this new strategy for creating content, writing 30 minutes every day, has made content creation so effortless. Like, it's mind-boggling, because I've struggled every now and then when it comes to content creation, but this has changed the game for me. So I hope you apply it and see success with it. And if you found this video helpful, I really hope that you did. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to create more content just like this. And my goal is to serve and help you build a digital product business and coaching business so that you can create financial freedom for you and your family. So be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. I also really want to know, what kind of ideas do you have right now for creating a digital product? Drop them down in the comment section and I'd love to read them. So next week, I will be creating a video on the Royal Wealth Framework. It's a framework that the Lord revealed to me, and it's something I've shared a few times, but it's something unique, I believe. And the purpose of this framework is to help you build a business, but also use tools and strategies to build wealth. Now, I'm not perfect. I am nowhere near where I want to be when it comes to my financial status, but the strategies here are what I'm applying and what I've learned over the course of the last few years. So I think you'll find this very, very helpful when it comes to building wealth and building a successful business. So I can't wait to share that with you. I'll see you next week.